how can we get, these expireds within a certain area, or how does that work through REDX? And we are live on LCA. Welcome, everybody. I am so excited today. One of my favorite companies, REDX, is here, and I have the pleasure of talking to Coach Austin, and of course, Andrew. Andrew, I've never met you before. Well, Andrew, I've met you before, but Austin, two A's.
Two A's.
Austin, I'm excited to kind of talk to you about these amazing systems and processes that you have in place, with REDX, of course. And let me just give a shout out. But first and foremost, I really, really want to know where you guys are from. So city and state, everybody, please. I'd love to know what city and state we have here. We've got people from Vancouver, Canada. Of course, Andrew is from Vancouver, Canada. Welcome, Andrew. Long Island. Well, who else do we have? Come on, let's go, guys. Ventura, thank you. Omaha, Nebraska, look at that. Gilbert, Arizona. Oh my gosh, we've got a house full. I'm totally excited. All right, so let's dive right into this, because I know you don't want to waste any more further time, and I know we don't want to waste your time either. So let me introduce you to Austin Robertson. You are you're from Seattle, originally from Missouri, I'm assuming.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, look at that. Ma'am's coming out right there. And you worked in fire service before beginning your real estate career and as a side gig. Flash forward to 2021, you've built a massive, successful team with a partner in under 1 year, which is amazing. And you're considered highly influential agent in your area, certified 2 certifications in luxury division. And of course, you run 2 YouTube channels and a podcast, and your wife, and you have a wife that is a mortgage lender, and you're part parent of 5 children. That is amazing. Welcome, Austin, to this wonderful platform that we have, where we share, we learn, we grow together as realtors. It is just an amazing platform. And of course, REDX, like I said, one of my favorite companies. Andrew, let's do this. Let's kill it.
Let's do it. I'm excited to be here. We're excited to have Austin here. He's been on our podcast before. He's a great guest, full of great information. So we're stoked to get into it today.
So let's dive right into it. Austin, talk to us about your strategies a little bit. Let's dive into that first, and then we'll go on and talk about expireds, new and old ones. I know I'm really curious to learn from you. So take it away, Austin.
Awesome. Guys, I'm super excited to be here with LCA and REDX. REDX is one of my favorite products. My very first year in real estate, I worked part-time as a firefighter. We still closed 53 properties in my first year, and almost 100% of those actually came from REDX. Very few sphere and referral-based businesses. Almost all of those actually came from expireds and circle dialing. So those are 2 places that I have a huge heart for when it comes to new agents. And that was really kind of the thought process behind the heart of this webinar for me, was where can new agents win? And coincidentally, both subjects that we're looking at today are the ones that I hear every single agent say that right now they can't do or they can't find, which are expired listings and holding open houses. And I got to tell you guys, it's an abundance mindset. If you think you can't do it, if you think it's not there, it won't be. If you guys need me, if you want to send some referrals anywhere out in Western Washington, my phone number is right there underneath my photo. Please feel free to send any buyers and sellers you have my way. Other than that, I'm super excited for you guys to chat. I just want you to take down those mental barriers right now that say there aren't enough expireds and open houses don't work anymore before we get going. If your mind's right, this will be a lot more fun.
Austin, I have to talk about that a little bit. Mindset, in my training academy, we talk about the same thing. It's a mindset. It's once you shift that mindset, you will be so surprised to the wonders it does to us, right? So first make a shift mentally. And we talked about this backstage a little bit. And we talked about, how we're not seeing as many old expireds, and not seeing any fresh new expireds, and to dive into more older expireds. And I love the fact that you said you started off with the mindset, because I do the same thing. It's about mindset. It's what you focus on will expand. And if you continue saying, no, you're not going to get it, you're not going to have it. Right.
Right.
So that's really awesome. So talk to us a little bit about scripts and your strategies, Austin.
So honestly, so just when it comes through expireds, like I said, I personally think you got to get your expireds found first, right? So there's several ways to do that. You can look them up manually, which is painful as all get out. Then there's other services. There's Espresso Agent, there's Vulcan 7. Of course, as I've said before, I use REDX, Onyx expireds. So I definitely recommend, if you're going to do expireds aggressively, that's the route that you go. I have used basically every system out there, and it's 100% my favorite. So first things first, and I know we're kind of beating this horse to death, but a lot of it is your mentality. You've got to get in there. You've got to be ready to make phone calls. You've got to be prepared. That means when you sit down to get on the phone, you're ready to do that. Your phone's on D&D. It's that little like moon looking button on the phone. You can click that. Close out of Facebook, close out of your emails. You literally need nothing else. Another thing too, guys, is working on your perfect daily schedule, right? This has got to be scheduled. If it's not on the calendar, it doesn't exist. And if it's not blocked off, you will allow other things, right? This prospecting is probably the least fun thing we do. So if we leave opportunity for other things to come in and creep in and take over, that's the place we'll do it. And the messed up thing is, that's where we make our money. So you've got to be very protective of your time when you're going to set forward with this. So, mentality wise, just be ready to go. With expireds, if you're going to call brand new ones, especially, I highly recommend that you get on the phone and dialing by 8 a.m. And I'll tell you why. Because there are aggressive agents like me and other agents here that will get on that phone at 8 o'clock and we'll be hustling through that list. And we're on that triple line dialer and we are reaching every contact we possibly can. And if you're sleeping in till 9 o'clock, or if you're not holding your team huddle till 9 o'clock, man, we've already burned through all those leads. We've already had those conversations. So I'm happy for you to compete with me or somebody else in the market, but you got to get up and you got to get going early. That means you got to get your mind right to get out the door. So,
I totally agree with you, Austin, on that for sure. To get it done 8 a.m. I think, again, like you said, two things, mindset, and we'll continue to talk about that because, again, the way you dial, the way you do lead generation and when you do it matters, correct? Timing matters because, again, powerful agents like you and I are not going to sit around at the back and, wake up and slothfully come to the office at 9, 10 o'clock thinking, oh, okay, by that time it's our lunchtime, practically, between 8 and 12 or 8 and 10 is your dial time. Talk to me a little bit about, and by the way, guys, this webinar is being recorded and will be available on our YouTube channel later today. So the link is right there in the chat box. And of course, I want to talk a little bit to Andrew. Andrew, we are doing an exclusive offer from REDX for LCA members only. So if you sign up now, they will waive the entire setup fee, which is awesome because that's about $150 savings. And that link is right there. Talk to us a little bit about REDX, Andrew. How can we get, these expireds within a certain area, or how does that work through REDX?
Yeah, thanks, Janki. So the way it works is expired data is data that's within an MLS, right? So when you sign up for REDX, you will choose the MLS or MLSs that you are a part of or that you want to prospect, and then we coordinate with the data from those MLSs and basically provide you with all the new data first thing every day, right? And it's constantly being updated and it's constantly being kind of checked and improved to make sure that it's accurate data. So basically, to Austin's point of like, you want to minimize friction, you want to make sure that this is that you kind of are able to just sit down, log in and go. REDX makes that easy by you sit down, you load up your leads, you click on expireds, you load your dialer and you're good to go, right? You can get in and you can get on the phone in under 5 minutes. Even less than that. And so it's just a really easy way. Cause the old school way was, well, let me go to the MLS and sort by date, sort by expired. And you had to do all that hard work. I've heard agents and coaches say back in the day, I would spend 3 hours going through writing down and finding information for these expired leads or for sell by owners or anything. It's all at the click of a button now. So it makes it super easy. Old expireds, I know, is something that we'll probably talk more about. REDX also offers old expireds. So you can call our team and they'll help you find old data, and you can find, or you can find data that exists within the duration of your account. So if you want to call expireds from 3 months back, 6 months back, 12 months, 18, even years back, you can load that data and call them and have, kind of adjust your script and adjust your strategy to talk to the old expireds there too.
So now we're talking, so we just talked a little bit, we touched base on adjusting the script. So Austin, talk to us a little bit about your script. When you're talking to, new expireds and or old expireds, what, of course, there are two different scripts, but how do you start off by talking? What are some of the things that you say to, say when you're talking? What is your dialogue looking like, sounding like?
Honestly, and I have a couple little scripts I use to kind of get things going. But as I get more seasoned in my career, I've learned a couple of things. When someone picks up the phone on an expired listing, they could be a little frustrated. So the important thing is you talk about them and you don't talk about you. They don't need to know your great marketing plan. Honestly, they don't really care. They want their house sold. And let them talk 80% of the time, and learn to listen, like genuinely listen. Like you will get most of the answers that you want or that you need by simply asking questions. And remember, the person asking the questions really controls the conversation.
Yes.
So if you are on the phone and they're drilling you about your marketing or your history or any of that, like you're losing. Okay. So honestly, most of the time, my conversation starts off with, hey, this is Austin from EXP. I'm sure you've probably seen my signs around town. You had a house that was on the MLS. I saw that's no longer on there. Were you still wanting to sell it? Super easy.
Straight to the point.
Yeah.
Straight to the point.
And honestly, what we want to do is we're trying to bring up whatever objection they have. Now, the beauty in expireds, and I've said this 100 times, is we don't want to sell it anymore. We're going to use the same agent.
Yes.
Or we're going to sell it for sell by owner.
Right.
Now, if any of you on this come up with like a fourth option, let me know. But I've only encountered 3 objections in my career so far on expireds, and they all somehow turn back to one of those 3. So a couple more that you could go with would be like, hey, I'm looking for John. This is also with DXP. I'm calling because I'm sure you figured out your home came up as expired listing. So I'm calling to see when you plan on hiring the right agent to sell your home. Kind of come off a little more aggressive, let them know what's going on, be a little more clear. Again, asking an open-ended question. Or, hey, this is Austin with DXP. I noticed your listing on 123 Main Street is no longer active. I wanted to see if you're going to take this opportunity to interview different agents. If so, I'd love to share my marketing methods with you on how I get homes sold quickly. When's the best time to meet up? Tuesday at 2 or Thursday at 4? Now that one's super aggressive. We're going to go ahead and assume that we're going to get the appointment off asking one question. You're probably never going to get that. Let's just be honest. But it does get the conversation started, and a bunch of no's usually lead me to yes.
Yes.
But ultimately, we just want to keep digging and keep asking questions. And this doesn't really vary a whole lot between a new expired and an old expired. Realistically, we're just trying to get to the questions. Now, an older expired, you're going to have to dig a little more into why maybe you're calling. For example, if you have a older expired that you call, it could be, hey, I didn't know if you knew that the market has changed since the last time you had your house in the market. And right now, for all of us, praise the Lord, it just keeps going up. So we can offer to send them a quick CMA, and then we'll swing by and explain it to them. Whatever, really, the key is just to get to the appointment, guys.
Yes.
Most of these people are never going to interview more than one agent if you have any closing ability whatsoever. All right. There are lots of great agents in there, but there's a reason that the NAR statistics show that roughly 75% of people will never interview more than one agent. You just got to get in the door, right?
And one thing I also say, Austin, in my training academy, when I'm teaching these ISAs how to convert, is you have to do, like you said, you have to be in the driver's seat. You have to control the questions, and such questions is out of curiosity. Starting off like that. I mean, be curious, be very curious of what they want. It's about them. It's not about you. At the end of the day, when you talk about your marketing and who you are, they're turned off, they're checked out, saying, okay, this one is full of themselves, right? So I like that strategy as well. And another thing is, like you said, go a little aggressive and ask about, hey, when do you think it'll be the right time that you will decide on using the right agent, right? I think that is another good question, because of course they're going to have a rebuttal saying, well, we're going to use the same agent as we did before. And then you want to rebuttal that by saying what you just said. My question to you, Austin, is, besides seeing the success with with the new, the new expireds, do you see a lot of that in Seattle? Do you see a lot of new expireds in Seattle right now?
And if you get on REDX right now, there is a plethora of them, and we're talking 800K to 1.5 million. So if you're not willing to get up and make phone calls for $1 million listings, you're missing it. Like, there is plenty, guys. There, got to shift your mind. There's plenty out there for everybody.
That's why I asked. Yeah.
Got to shift your mind. There's plenty, like literally, there's enough for all of us to eat and live very comfortably and do well. Guys, I coach for Club Wealth, which is out of the Seattle area. And here at Club Wealth, I have people that I talk to every day that do up to 1,000 transactions a year.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they're scared to share what they're doing with me? No, every day we share what we do back and forth, because there's enough for us all to go around. And that's a beautiful thing about real estate.
And one of my coaches said this to me years ago when I was so discouraged, that she said that when you're on an airplane, how many rooftops do you see while you're about to land? All right. Think about that. There's so much to go. There's so many homes. And what are you doing? You need to be out there hitting those homes. You need to do what it takes to get down there and really work in the field, in the business. We talk a lot about on the business versus in the business. And our jobs as realtors is to work on our business, right? And what are we doing are we really doing what it takes? Again, mindset, that's the main thing. And we keep on repeating that because that is the truth. That is where it all starts. Austin, now let's shift gears and talk a little bit about open houses. I know that, there are tools out there, the valuable tools through REDX that you've used. And by the way, guys, there's an exclusive offer out there with REDX for LCA members only. There's a link right there in our chat box. Click on it. You'll lead right to it. And if you do need to go early, we are being recorded and it'll be available on our LCA YouTube channel. All right, let's talk a little bit about open houses.
I'm pumped. So before I dive into open houses, I want to say Andrew mentioned that you can get old expireds with REDX.
Yes.
It's a simple phone call, guys. So if that's a route you want to go, just make the phone call. The other thing I would like to encourage you to do, for all of you that sit in the brokerage office with 85 people around you saying, oh, there's no expireds. One of the great things that you can actually do within your MLS or the MLSs that you service is you can go into your settings in REDX and you can pick other counties. Mm-hmm. So maybe you don't have a ton of stuff just in like King County, Washington, but Pierce County is a 30-minute drive. Like, how far are you willing to go to make the money you need to make to provide for your family? Yeah. So it's something I want you to take into consideration. If you're using REDX or a product like it, and you're only servicing a 15 square mile radius, you're doing 10 deals a year, you're shooting yourself in the foot, guys. I will drive 3 hours for $1 million listing all day long. That's 6 hours round trip for that commission. I'm going to go. Okay. Right. So if you want to hustle and you want to make the money, you've got to be willing to make sacrifices. So that's one thing you can do with REDX as well. So open houses, I love open houses. There were several studies that I was reading through. Unfortunately, all the references right now, but basically showing that open house leads convert right next to a referral from a sphere of influence. Yes. I believe the sphere of influence is like a 7-to-1 and an open house is like a 13-to-1 or 15-to-1, somewhere around there. So it gets me really excited because I know that means we're going to get business out of it.
Right.
So one of the things to realize with open houses is, I think, and again, we're going to retouch back on mindset again. I think we're expecting to walk into open houses, put some cute little signs in the yard, and somebody's going to walk in the door with a checkbook in hand. Yeah. You got to realize that a lot of times your buyers that are going to come from an open house lead, they're still 6 to 8 weeks away from buying. So this is not a one and done deal. This is still a huge follow-up game that you're going to have to play. Okay. Whether it's with expireds or with its open houses or anything else, very few lead sources are going to be just automatic, snap your fingers and they're closed. So I think that's the other mindset that we've really got to start believing is, people at call centers will make phone calls all day long for a $200 paycheck. if you make one good phone call, you make 10 grand here.
Exactly.
So think about that. So you got to keep grinding away. And follow-up is super important with these. I will tell you guys, I do have the Austin Robertson action plans built out. So you guys can actually get all of my action plans, all of my follow-up, all the videos I do. And Club Wealth actually has a team that will actually take all my action plans and drop them directly into your CRM, like no matter what it is. It's super cool. So you can email client@clubwealth.com, talk to them about that. It's helped me out a ton. So with open houses, I think really setting up properly is super important, right? So typically I will start mine out with about a two-week window. And especially right now, while they're not as prevalent, it gives you plenty of time to pick them. So I highly suggest that when you're doing an open house, you go for looking for the right house. So you're going to look for homes with large neighborhoods. There's all kinds of people around. This is going to kind of tie back into REDX as we go through this. So if you can find them maybe within a half mile of a really busy intersection, ideally where everyone's pretty tightly connected. One of the things I would highly suggest too, guys, is if that neighborhood is owned by 3 or more pretty consistent agents, that you kind of go look for a different one. Those neighborhoods are already kind of picked across and they've got people there. Also, when you're doing open houses, think about what you want to do. So if you want to sell $1 million homes, if you want to sell $500,000 houses, if you want to sell 125s, you need to be holding open houses in those areas. There is nothing wrong with calling other agents and saying, hey man, take Sunday off. Let me hold this house open for you. You will get yeses more than you can believe, especially if you reach out to a team leader who's still taking listings. So like myself, if an agent reached out to me and they weren't on my team wasn't going to hold it. Sure, man, you go ahead and take that open house and enjoy it. So those are things that are really important, is being comfortable, finding the right neighborhood, and also not being scared to borrow listings, especially if you're a brand new agent or you don't have a ton of business. Like, there's really no reason why you shouldn't be doing open houses every single weekend. So it's a little overwhelming, but it's all right. Just take the time, do it. This 2-week period is usually when I will get into REDX, and I will use the GeoLeads. I'll pull about the closest 500 people. I know it's a big area, but it's important to make contact. People aren't going to be at home. There are going to be a few wrong numbers. Just literally get that triple line dialer, call the closest 500 homes, invite them to the open house. Keep it casual. It's all right. It's easy. We're just going to do that. Then we're also going to direct mail those closest 500 as well. If you can't afford it, that's fine. At least do the circle dialing. Let's at least make contact, and then door knock those same 500 people. If you can't, especially if you can't afford the direct mail, get out there, beat the streets, knock on the doors. Again, I know it's scary. I know it's old school. I know it doesn't work, but this stuff does work, guys. Like, this game hasn't changed. The technology has, but the game hasn't.
So quick question, Austin, when you talk about direct mail, are you talking about like a postcard that you send out, or do you send out a piece of letter? What does that direct mail look like to you?
Yeah, so realistically, you can go either way. A couple of agents on my team that really like to just like handwrite a letter and copy it and then mail it out. And there are also really great postcard campaigns, really easy ones to find. I love listings to leads. That's another program I use a lot. And one of the big reasons why I advocate for it so much is because listings to leads is such a great product for the price. So whether you're doing 10 deals a year or 500 deals a year, you can totally afford to use that platform. So I do a lot of stuff out of that, just out of respect for them keeping their prices at a great point, providing such a great service to people.
And Austin, with sending those mailers, if you're doing a GeoLeads campaign, let's say you drop a pin on your open house, you get the 500 closest properties, you call as many people in that neighborhood, and you also want to mail them, you can take the data from that area that you've already loaded, and you can export them on a PDF that is pre-formatted for mailer labels, right? So you buy your standard mailer labels, you can download the either download the CVS file and upload it into your mail service, or if you just need labels, you can go ahead and do that in the mail merge feature right there in REDX's Vortex.
So you are hitting them with the phone call, you're sending them something of value, inviting them to the open house. I mean, think about it. How many times are you hitting them consecutively in the 2-week period, correct? I think that is really awesome.
Yeah, it's land, air, and sea. I mean, because the next week, the 1 week before, we're going to start moving into running Facebook ads, creating a Facebook event. We're going to hit every single Facebook group that we possibly can. And we're just going to really start trying to retarget those people in every way that we possibly can in that neighborhood. And part of it too, guys, we're looking for listings. Okay.
Right.
So, you know, our most successful moment, we ended up off of one property, ended up listing 11 in the same neighborhood over the course of a couple of months. So
fantastic.
Land, air, and sea works. And then, you know, you can do things like, you know, a few days before, again, you know, reboost that Facebook event that you have going. Just really keep hitting it on the day of. I always suggest, and this is probably one you guys aren't doing, you can use a green screen you want if you can go out there. I like to go out there and do a short video in front of the house. And I'm never going to tell you, of course, what we call the fatal four. I'm not going to tell you the price. I'm not going to tell you the bedrooms or bathrooms. I'm not going to tell you any of the square footage. We're going to keep that all off. And we're going to give a quick teaser of the house, right?
Yes.
So right before retargeting everybody again, that's been on there with a short video. And obviously I don't feel like we really need to go into video. Like if you guys aren't catching the video is a thing now, we're probably long lost.
Yeah.
The other thing too, guys, is a lot of us are underdoing our signage. So I see a lot of open house with the sign in the yard and 2 directionals. Try this a couple of times, make it like a circus. Go on Craigslist, run an ad for sign spinners for $10 an hour. Sounds wild. Put guys at 2 intersections spinning signs for your open house. Try 40 to 50 directionals for open houses. Do maybe half of them with arrows, half of them with, you know, for a free list of homes, check out the open house. Have your signs large, do a ton of balloons. I've seen guys buy like blow up animals and put them in the front yard. Like literally looks like the whole place is going absolutely insane. And it works. It's a really, really impressive. Just blanket that whole area with you and your signage, you know, that day before. I will tell you, be sure that you are in line with your local code, because there's also a solid chance that you print all those and they come by and rip them all out of the ground. So just check on that. And on the day of, when you guys are doing these open houses, I can't encourage this enough to just dress for success. Like look at these open houses like it's a job interview. All these buyers are coming through and 80% of them don't have an agent. That's a lot of people. Now you're saying right now, okay, well, every time I ask if they have an agent, they say yes. Well, of course they are.
Of course.
It's too easy.
Yes.
Change your verbiage to, hey, who is your agent?
Mm-hmm.
If they can't say anybody, they fumble around. If they don't have one, they're going to tell you at that point. It's too hard to make one up. So that'll kind of open that up. So think about it like an interview. Dress nice, look nice. A lot of people I keep seeing in my local area, I see more people focused more on what kind of treats they're going to have than how they look. So
exactly. I mean, this is and this is a 2-week period that you do all of this. And now imagine how awesome your open house will be. I have a question here from Lori. I think she's asking about how do you obtain phone numbers for Geo Farm? And I think, Andrew, that one is for you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So to Lori, REDX offers a product called GeoLeads. Notice the correlation there, GeoLeads, geofarming. It's basically geographic prospecting data. So what you get with GeoLeads for $50 a month, you get 2,000 credits. 1 credit is 1 property. You drop a pin on a map, you enter an address, you draw a boundary, and you can pull anywhere from 25 to 500 of those credits that covers a property, and then multiple phone numbers that are associated with each property, right? So GeoLeads, super affordable way to GeoFarm tons of properties every month. And if you want to step it up a notch, we've got GeoLeads Plus, which more than doubles the amounts of credits you get every month, 2,000 to 5,000. Also includes email addresses. So a great way to geo-prospect, really clean tool with a map and all the data you need there. So
it's so easy to use.
Yeah, I mean, I have REDX as well, and of course my ISAs dial out. You know, these prospecting. We do a lot of circle prospecting. We do a lot of closed circle prospecting that we do, a lot of dialing with GeoLeads, and we've seen some great results from that as well. There's a question, can it be used once, or is there a minimum?
So with that GeoLeads, Laurie, it's a credit-based system. So every month that you pay for, you get the 2,000 credits or the 5,000 credits for the month, and then once you pull the data for an area or for a search, you have that data forever. So you can refresh that data, you can go search a different area, but it's those 2,000 or 5,000 credits a month, and those reset every month. So over the course of a year, you have so many different properties that you can look up. And you also have an opportunity, as you drop your pin, you can preview and see if the properties that are going to load with information are exactly where you want them. And without using your credits, you can reset that and make sure you're actually pulling the data you're looking for.
Yeah, it's really very simple, you guys. You just do, it's like you go on the website and it's so user friendly. I have to say that, right? Austin, you were saying something?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, and having those numbers for a long time and being able to maintain them does help, especially if you're going to operate out of a single neighborhood a lot. If you do
Right.
genuinely farm, those numbers are always there, so you're not using your credits over and over and over again to do that. So I would highly suggest play around with it a little bit. It doesn't take us but a few sessions to burn through the 2,000. So I do highly recommend, just from another agent's perspective, not nobody from REDX, just as a regular guy, I suggest the 5,000 with the email addresses. It's the way to go for the money.
And that's obviously the GeoLeads Plus. Guys, there is an exclusive offer from REDX for LCA members only. If you do sign up today, they will waive the entire setup for you guys. The savings of $150, and that link is posted here in our group chat. Awesome. So what more can you share with us, Austin? Is there anything else you can share with us? Not only about obviously old expireds, new expireds, what about circle prospecting after you go pending or coming soon? Is that something that you also stay focused on, or even something that's just sold?
Yeah, I mean, any opportunity I have to follow people, I'm gonna stick it out, and we're gonna do it. You can literally, you come with any reason to call people. I literally just call people to call them sometimes. It's really more of that mindset of just getting on the phone and doing it. So you can come with whatever excuse you want, just listed, just sold, this is pending, there's an open house, your neighbor moved, I moved into your neighborhood, you're my neighbor, like whatever you want, just do it. And the thing is, they talk about how real estate's a contact sport. And what I mean by that is, don't go punch the agent next to you in your brokerage. I mean, talk to me as people as possible.
Right.
And the beauty of it is, I did talk about door knocking a little bit, but circle prospecting really is a modern version of door knocking. Now, the beauty of it is I can call 100 people in an hour. And if I were to try to knock on 100 doors in an hour, I would probably die from a heart attack. So you have a lot more availability there to reach a lot broader group in a quicker time. Circle prospecting has been invaluable. So when I worked in the Missouri market, I had this, if you guys are in a second home market, all this is great. Branson, Missouri is about 30 minutes south of me. So they have a lot of condos that are owned people out of the area. So one of the things I would look for would be a condo to sell in that area. I would circle dial that, all the owners of that condo, they might not have been in that area for a year, 2 years, 3 years. That condo's just sitting there. Well, if you sell your condo at a higher price than it's been in a long time, I talked to you and you haven't been there for 3 years, you might be pretty inclined to list, to get it sold. And my script for that is super easy. And again, I hope you guys see like how simple I am as a human being. Nothing is complicated. It's just, hey, I don't know if you guys saw unit 123 in your building just sold for the most I've ever seen. I didn't know if you guys thought about upsizing, downsizing, or moving on.
Very simple, straight to the point.
Give them some options, let them talk. It's really just about using the technology that we have at hand, guys. If you call somebody and they don't pick up, call them right back.
Right.
Like immediately. If they don't pick up again, send them a text. One of my favorite things with REDX is it does have the homeowner's name. So if I were to call Andrew and he didn't pick up, I'd call him right back. I'll leave him a voicemail. Then as soon as I got the phone with Andrew, so I got the voicemail there, I would text Andrew, hey, is this Andrew? ? And what it does is that person in their mind starts thinking, I should know this phone number.
Right.
And they'll say, oh yeah, hey, it is. Who's this? Boom. call them immediately. They're
Yeah,
going to pick up. So
yeah.
that's another tip I have for you is just make sure you're doing that. Don't be a secret agent. Go ahead and leave voicemails. It's not going to hurt anybody's feelings. They're not mad at you. So really, again, it's just to go after the numbers, broaden your horizon, be confident, have your head right, and then follow up. Whether it's a a circle dial, whether it's a expired open house, add them to your CRM, set up a plan, call them once a week, email them once a week, text them once a week, and just never stop. A lot of times it's the last person who is still there
Exactly.
that's going to win. So if
Right.
you'll keep going, you'll beat everybody else out. Just keep going.
And of course, within those conversations, ask questions. Remember, you're going to be in the driver's seat. That's one thing I always tell, the ISAs that I'm training is that you have to be in the driver's seat. You have to take control of the conversation, not them, and always listen to them, right? Those are the tips that we as realtors should always have, no matter who it is, a buyer, seller, investor, whoever it is. Some great tips here. Thank you so much, Austin. That was amazing. And then of course, Andrew with REDX. I really, really love REDX. I've had it for a while now. And we do a lot of dialing out of, the circle prospecting side of it. I'm going to dive into the GeoLeads Plus because I'm curious about that.
Yeah.
My last question to you, Austin, is how far do you go on the expireds, the old expireds? How far do you go out?
As far as just reaching out to them?
No, years. Like, is it 1 year, 2 year, 10 years? Like, what? Any particular system?
No, I don't necessarily have a standard. It's just however froggy I'm feeling. If I run out of numbers to call and I'm still in my prospecting block, I'm going to find somebody else to call.
Yeah,
I think a lot of it, whether it's a time frame or a distance frame, I think we're limiting ourselves too much.
right.
Just general as an industry. I literally know an agent. It's a metropolitan area. There's towns everywhere. She won't work outside of that one town. We're talking like 5 square miles.
Wow.
And she does great, but definitely she could have enough influence to do a lot more business. And I think the same goes when you're making these phone calls. Don't shut yourself down to something you're not, that you should be comfortable with. If you're comfortable calling a new expired, you should be comfortable calling an old expired. There's really no difference.
Exactly.
Neither one of them are necessarily looking for the phone to ring. So just make the call, have the conversation. In fact, the older expireds are usually more comfortable conversing with you because they're not getting bombarded by agents who are calling those lead sources. So you should be more comfortable in doing that. And again, when you're ready for those, you can search them up a multitude of ways. Again, the easiest way is just to reach out to REDX. If you choose a different service provider, maybe they have it. Both REDX, I can reach out and say, hey man, take me back to these counties for this long, and they'll load them in. And we've got a whole other list to dial through.
Well, thank you again, Austin. This was amazing. Like I said, always pleasure talking to you, Andrew. Until next time, we will talk to you soon. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks, Janki. Thanks, Austin.
Appreciate it.
Bye, guys.
See you again. See you
Yeah,
guys.
you too. See
Bye.
ya.